I've reached 1990 in this overview of the Famicom Disk System, and now it's dead. Hong Kong was released 4 months after the previous Disk System release, so things are already looking ugly. But then of the 20 remaining games, including this one, 9 of them are re-releases of Famicom games, though one at least got some rework. Hong Kong is the last non-Nintendo game to make it to store shelves. Everyone else goes to the rewriter. Although the last Disk Writer game doesn't come until December of 1992, as a platform it might as well not even exist anymore. However, Hong Kong is also the start of what I think of as the last major push by anyone to figure out what they can do with the disk system. And part of that is because its publisher, Tokuma Shoten, was also a magazine publisher. Famitsu was, and continues to be, the #1 game magazine in Japan. It's the magazine of record for video games there. And then in the far, far distance was the #2 magazine, Famicom Magazine, published by Tokuma Shoten. Over the years they tried a lot of different things to get attention. You might recall how the Konami RPG Lagrange Point was designed with input from Famimaga readers. One of the things that Famimaga did was that their pages had a Discoon comic running in it, and that comic actually manages to outlive the disk system. In 1989, the editors of Famimaga had a great idea. A contest where readers could submit their concepts for puzzle games, and then the best ones would get released to the Famicom Disk System. They had 2 winners in this first contest, and then they did it twice more. 5 games resulted from those winners, and then they published 1 more puzzle game from a well-established developer, bringing the total for this series up to 6. Why puzzle games? Well, we're now in the era of the Game Boy. Puzzle games are rapidly becoming a dominant genre, and the restricted storage on the Famicom Disk System kind of gives the platform similar limitations in game size as the Game Boy has. It really was a perfect genre for the disk system, just 4 years too late. While Hong Kong was a contest winner, that doesn't mean it was original. It was actually originally published in MSX magazine as a program listing that you could type in. Its programmer submitted the design to the Famimaga contest, and it seems likely that having a functional version already out there probably helped them win, since the other winner of that contest also had a listing for the original version of their game published in MSX magazine. Hong Kong resembles Shanghai, and I'm talking about the games, not the cities. Your goal is to remove all of the mahjong tiles from a stack, and there's only 7 types of tiles used, the 4 winds and the 3 dragons. You can only remove 1 type of tile at a time, and it cycles through all of them in a consistent order. Which tile you can remove is shown on the left-hand side. The rule for removing tiles is simple enough. Tiles have to be supported by at least 1 tile. But if they are supported by another tile, then you're safe to remove the other support. So in other words, removing from the top is easy. They're not supporting anything. But if there's something right above it, then the tile you want to remove has to have a neighbor that is also under that same tile that's above the one you want to remove. This usually means that it's easier to remove tiles in the middle of the stack than it is to remove them at the edges. As a general strategy, you want to start at the top and work your way down, but you'll inevitably wind up having to make some compromises, or dig down in certain areas to make sure that there will be an open tile when you need it. There is a bit of strategy here. There are 10 different arrangements for tile layouts, and rather than dishing things up randomly, you enter a 3-character code, which acts as the random seed, which means you can always bring back the same stack that you worked from before. You also have the choice of setting yourself a time limit, but I don't think it really makes that much of a difference. On the right-hand side of the screen, there are options you can click on to get a hint showing you a tile that you can remove that matches, or you can rewind a few times. There are a limited number of rewinds though. Finally, when you're stuck, you can hit select, and that just ends the game immediately. You'll get a score based on how many tiles you removed and how quickly you did it. Then you have the choice of playing that same layout again, or trying to do something else. If the 10 patterns included with the game aren't enough for you, there's also a construction mode where you can design your own layout. Then you can save your layout to the disk and take it over to a friend's house. About 6 months after this came out, Tokuma Shoten decided to try again with Hong Kong and released it on the Game Boy. It seems like both versions did very poorly. The Disk System one in particular was a real embarrassment for Tokuma Shoten, as they dedicated a large feature in their magazine just to it. Hong Kong is really unpopular in Japan. I've seen people call it the worst of the Famimaga series, which should tell you that we're actually going to see some improvements from here. My feeling is it's a bit too simple as a puzzle game. It's the kind of thing that's fine to play once or twice, but you're quickly going to work out the optimal strategy, and once you've done that, there isn't going to be a lot to hold your interest. It's definitely the kind of thing that'd be a cool free game if you typed it in from a magazine listing, and doesn't have enough depth to be a full retail release.